Good afternoon. Today is the 19th of November and we're in the St Cross area of Winchester where I've been parking today, and it's time for another one of the very vague vlogs. Last week's was incredibly vague. That has to be the vaguest one I've ever done. Today is number 13, I believe, and I've got to be a bit more focused because I've got quite a lot to talk about this week. You'll be seeing this, I believe, on about the 23rd of November, and actually we've got a lot of nostalgia to pour out today. Obviously my channel does have some nostalgic cars on it, although we do cover some modern ones too. But this week we're talking about the two first Volkswagen Group cars I ever owned. Let's put some things into context first. This is one of the boarding houses of Winchester College. In fact, this is where I actually lived for 5 years, the place right in front of me. The actual main college buildings are a little distance away from here, maybe 5-minute walk in most cases. It's quite a big area, really. Next to the college is a prep school, which isn't officially linked with it, but you know, they do sort of share facilities and things, and lots of the you know, people from one go to the other. And I found out this week actually that one of the teachers who I used to have at my prep school passed away. He was only 60. The time when I was actually there, he would have been in his early to mid 30s. He was a former stockbroker who taught English and current affairs. And he was the sort of person at the age of 10 would really make you sort of feel as if you should know that Khrushchev succeeded Stalin as president of the Soviet Union, that kind of thing. That made me sort of think quite a lot. My cousin who told me the news and I were at the same school, a prep school, and then we were at the public school, the college that I just showed you. And the first car I actually got was when I was at the college, just from here, which is Winchester Motor Company on St Cross Road in Winchester. It was a 1998 Volkswagen Polo 1.4 CL 5-door in bright green was the name of the colour. Dragon green was the earlier colour. This was a slightly different one because the very early Mark III Polos had a different instrument cluster. They had one that was similar to the Golf Mark III. The later Mark III Polos had different fonts and things. There's a really sort of nerdish fact for you. Also in 95 when they came out, they had a 1.3 engine. Mine had a 1.4 developing 60 horsepower. My cousin actually also bought his car, first one that he and his brother shared. I shared mine with my twin sister from that dealership as well. That was a Skoda Fabia TDI. So, you know, lots of sort of shared nostalgia going on with that. The Polo was a pretty decent car, really. The interior wasn't up to much quality, but then lots of interiors of mid-90s Super Minis weren't really up to much in quality in comparison with today. The Citroen Saxo I learned to drive in wasn't great. The Vauxhall Corsa B that I also learned to drive in, along with the Saxo, wasn't brilliant either by modern standards, so it was alright. You know, it wasn't very fast, 60 horsepower, 0 to 60 in, I don't know, 14 seconds. It's quite economical, held the road okay. Just felt a bit more solid than the Saxo that I was taking lessons in. My mother did also allow us to take lessons in the Polo, and that was nice, my twin sister and I. So we got that in 2001. I had that in parallel with the Dolomite that you would have heard about on the very vague vlogs a couple of weeks ago. But eventually in 2006, when I sold the Dolomite, I think it was about February I would have sold that, something like that. We actually changed two cars for one and went down to the local Seat dealer, which is in a place called North Baddesley, which is again 15 minutes or so from where we currently live. And it was a 2003 Seat Leon 1.4S. The S was the absolute base model in the Mark I Leon range. This was a very late pre-facelift car, but it wasn't really a facelift with the Leon because they got the styling kind of bang on first time, so it didn't really need to facelift it, and they sort of didn't really. It was more just the fact that the side mirrors were a different shape, and there were other, you know, minor changes. I think the car that I had wouldn't have been Euro 4 compliant, for example, whereas the later ones were. 1.4 engine, developing 75 horsepower, a different 1.4 from the Polo. The Polo always used to me to feel like a bit like a little vacuum cleaner when you sort of heard it. The Leon was a better engine. It wasn't fast, again it's very slow, but the economy was quite good, and you know, it was a decent enough car. The main problems with that were sort of little build quality niggles really, and the Golf Mark IV platform cars do seem to have their fair share of like electrical faults and build quality niggles, and this was no exception. The Mark III Polo, you know, this central mounted electric window switches were clearly a cost-cutting measure, as was the central locking, which never felt particularly expensive and was quite noisy, as was the very cheap feeling electric mirror switch. In the Leon, you didn't even get electric mirrors at all, you didn't get them. So it really was a sort of base model. It still had wheels though, it had a CD player, so it felt a bit posh than a lot of cars that my friends were driving at the time. This is 2002, 2009 I think it did. And it had air conditioning, which was really good. You know, a lot of my friends' cars didn't have that. So yeah, it was a decent enough car. I actually changed it for a Rover in the end because I wanted something that felt a bit more sort of classic. The Leon is a handsome enough car and it's all right, but I just fancied something that was, you know, from the same kind of parentage as the Dolomite I'd had, and that started my affair with lots and lots and lots and lots of Rovers. So yes, very nostalgic sort of feeling at the moment, particularly after the news of my teacher, who was called Mr. Perry, passed away the other day, and you know, I think he was a bit sad towards the end of his life. I gather he got into alcoholism and depression, and that's really sad. He devoted, I think, about 30 years of his life to the school, which is nice of him. Anyway, that's enough of my nostalgic sort of rambles for now. I'm sorry if it's a bit shaky down here. I'm sorry if the camera's got out of focus at times, and I'm sorry if, as well, the mounts in the way. It's just the way it goes on this channel. I'm about to do some for my mother, but before I do that, I need to go to the car wash, because I can't go to the hand car wash because it's shut, because it's lockdown. But anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching this episode of Very Vague Vlogs. It's been a little bit more focused today, but still was vague, you know, pretty vague. That's the way we like it, and I've got lots of beeps going on in my Sanyong today. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Don't forget to like this video and to leave a comment below. As I've mentioned several times, if you wish to feature your car on no budget reviews or sensible second-hand reviews, then please do get in touch with me. I would love to have it on the channel, as long as it's under £5,000. Obviously, I'm based in Hampshire, so the nearer to that the better. Then please do email me, japl745@hotmail.com. And Facebook is facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting, and also there is instagram.com/Lloyd_Vehicle_Consulting. Thank you.